Alright, this is my Ender 3. It's been upgraded a lot already. As you can see, I've got the H2, the BIQU H2 direct drive. I printed my own adapter board for it, or adapter plate. It's got this for parts cooling, which comes down in circles. Does a pretty good job. Printed it in clear PETG. Got the standard Ender 3 display. I've tried some others and I just went back to this. I've got this is the main board. It is a Octopus, and I've got a Raspberry Pi 4 here. Got the cover off because I ran some wires. I was trying to get the low voltage to go away. I did, but I hadn't gone back and fixed it. Anyways, at one point I had a drive here and a filament runout sensor, which is not actually doing anything now. It's got dual Z's, and it's got the BL Touch. So there's that, the CR Touch. Either way, it's got the one like this, and it can self-level, which is nice. It's got the lesser quality power supply, but I'm actually going to swap that out with a better one. So anyways, now I'm going to start tearing it down. I've got the Ender extender kit there in the box, and start doing that. All right, I'm deep in it now. Got the X-axis taken apart. Got the whole bloody thing taken apart. Anyways, I am on step 17. Remove the Z motor mount screws because I have an XL kit. These are getting replaced. They're going to be taller. So I'm still under disassembly. Remove left side bottom support. Remove left side vertical Z-axis XL kits. You don't have to remove the Z-axis, the vertical Z's for that. Yeah. So these bars are coming off now, but yeah, I've got it all. I've got a bowl full of screws and stuff set somewhere where my toddler can't eat it. That's why the chairs are on the floor. He'll climb up and have at with the kitchen table. I got a pile of old parts here. The LCD is going to go back, but just about everything else I'm tossing in there is not going back. So and then on the stove, I've got, the old hot plate, which is not going back. I've got the Octopus control board. I've got the old power supply. That was my nice braided wire harness. You like that? That's I think that's my signature touch. If I built bombs, the FBI would know this. Anyways, yeah, it goes into here. There were 3 power inputs and 3 power outputs, so I just braided them together. And it's tidy. It's the only reason I did it, because it's tidy. It's not electrically helpful or anything. I'm surprised I didn't have a ferrite bead on here. I usually put them all over my stuff. Anyways, so under here is the new print plate, and yeah, so we'll come back as I get farther along. Okay, this part is so messy. I am not good at making wiring look good, but I'm working on it. So I hard mounted the solid state relay for the bed here, and I tapped into the power coming into the power supply. I haven't changed out the power supply just because, overkill's fine, whatever. So anyways, you can see I haven't run the power for the steppers yet. I do have most of this routed. I've got to wrap it still, and the power wires for the hot end heater are way too short, so I gotta extend those. Yeah, and yeah, so that's the Octopus board. I'm going to attach it to the side here so that it just stays still, and it'll eventually get a lid on it. I've got the lid with a fan, keeps these cool. The Raspberry Pi 4, I decided I'm just going to put it in here this time. There might be an electrical interference problem, but other than that, it should be fine. Yeah, this wire needs to be replaced, probably to be longer. Although the display isn't much farther from where this was before, so I might not worry about it too much. I'm going to put this about here, somewhere around about here. Everything above it misses. I've got the extended feet that I printed underneath the thing. So anyways, yeah, this wiring nightmare is my life right now. So this is a case I printed for the octopus board, and I like it because it's got all the holes in it, and the top of it has a nice fan mount, so it blows through there. I put the fan right over the stepper drivers so they stay nice and cool, and it'll have the added benefit of cooling this too. I glued that on with heatsink epoxy, so thermal epoxy. Anyways, so you can see I've stuck these two through here. They line up with a lower hole on there, so it's just going to clamp this up to the side. It's going to be great. So here we are. I've decided that I'm going to run all of these wires down the right side because it makes the most sense. Otherwise I got to come down the left side, come across underneath to the thing, and just come across this way. So I moved the head all the way that way, and yeah, this isn't bundled yet, but it's going to be. And then let's see, I did some it came with some extension wires, so I heat shrinked over them to keep them from popping apart or something. I extended my heater wires. These are leftover wires from the beds that are the right kind of material. So just a little heat shrink. There's butt connectors in there, and I heat shrunk over them. Yeah, some more work here. This is the CR Touch, so it wouldn't have reached otherwise, and I would have really had to splice a lot of wires to get that to reach. And then this one is another fan that I extended. This is the hot end cooler fan. So yeah, it had much thinner wire and it was way too short. So I extended it. Now it's the longest one of the bunch. Now I'm going to pull the loom over this and wrap it back to the head. And so I've got a zip tie point right here on my bracket, and I've got a hole right here that I can use as a zip tie point. So these will all be inside the loom, and as the head comes back, that'll all squeeze back. Yeah, it'll do the job. It's no cable chain, but it's good. And as you can see, that's the stepper driver coming up that side. Because I got the other stepper over here, so I might as well bring the stepper wires all up on this side. Besides, it keeps the RF interference away from this stuff, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Got to use my USB soldering iron. This is the what do you call it? The maple something or something like that. Pine-sil. Come on, there you go. Yeah. So I got it plugged into a laptop USB-C power supply, but you can use a barrel jack if you had one. Anyways, yeah, Pine-sil. This thing is so cheap and it's so nice quality. I really like it. Now I got some nice proper alloy 6337 lead solder. Good stuff. Anyways, I was thinking about using these, but I ended up not doing it, so I'm just going to set them aside for now. This kit came with these things. They're cute and all. It seemed really overly expensive to include, so I'm not using them. Yeah, anyways, I've just got to plug things in, or loom things up, plug them all in, and I think I'm going to be ready to start sending it. So, won't be long now. I got a lot of hours into this thing at this point. Here we go, making more progress. So, I've got this one, comes from under here, it's all split loomed. This is the X and E motor, and the X end stop, which is right there. So, it's, here, let's swing around. Sorry about the camera work. Anyways, yeah, so I got a screw hole right there, and I zip tied it. So, yeah, focus, there we go. So it comes straight down, and I've got this thing pretty well all the way up. So I know that it'll reach. There's a little bit of slack left, so if I needed to go 10 millimeters higher or whatever, it can do it. I've also got slack in this one, so it can go all the way over here. It's actually more than it needs, so I'm probably going to zip tie it up here, but I want to, before I zip tie it up here, I want to see if it'll reach the bottom. If it won't, then I'll have to zip tie it like here, and then it's like too long, maybe I'll fold it over. Anyways, this one on the other side, run this all the way to the X stop. Okay, it can do it. The wires go nice and taut when it does. So, but I needed that so that I could get this one. So I loomed it all the way down. It goes all the way down to the motor box. Move this out of the way. I'm gonna have to tie this back so that it doesn't get hung up on the corner of the bed going by. But I've got the hot end wired in, and I got some other wires here. And yeah, so just a couple more connections. I've got the original wire is still going to reach my control panel, because you know these are still the same length and this isn't that far off from where it was. So it's gonna go here. I'm gonna drill one more hole in the right there, so that I can get both these screws back in. So but you can see there's my octopus board right up against the front of it with all of its, I've got the, I think that's an Ethernet jack or something, CAN bus, I don't know. Anyways, USB-C, so it's got all of its connections. Oh, and the SD card. So yeah, that's gonna be great. And I can still put the lid on it. And I gotta put the Raspberry Pi in there before I'm done. Yeah. I should probably screw the Raspberry Pi to the lid if I can. I don't know, I'll look into it. Maybe not. Then I don't have to worry about wires when I lift the lid. I'm not putting the lid on until I'm sure I've got all the wire connections right. Still don't have the bed, that should be here tomorrow. But yeah. Anyways. Alright, so we've done the wires. Now I've got everything hooked in. Here's my thermistor on the hot end, my thermistor on the bed. Sorry about the focus. Yeah. So, and then these two are end stops for X and Y. Z is going to be the BL Touch, which is back here. Make damn sure you plug this in the correct direction, or you will cook your BL Touch and it'll be no good. So, blue on the right, white and black on the left. You know, like that when you're looking at it from this end. Very, very important because it's not a keyed connector on this thing, so it'll just go in any way you tell it to, and backwards we'll fry it. Okay, so this is my hot end heater here. It's fairly snug. You know, if I could have gotten another inch out of all these wires, it would have been fantastic. But it's close enough. I might, you know, this is about as high as it wants to go. I can go a little bit higher, so I might just call it 450 instead of 500 millimeters for height. That'd be fine with me. It's still huge. So what else wires do I have? I've got all the, so I've got X, Y, and Z. This is a second Z, so I skip it. It's a duplicate of that Z. This is Z2, and then extruder. Yeah, focus, yeah. And you can tell I've got one extra stepper driver because I was going to do a dual extruder when I bought this board. And it turns out I don't need to, and I've got room for one more. So who knows what I'll do in the future. So I've got the heater, now the solid state relay. I didn't really cover how this works, but you've got, here, let's pull off the protective cover. These are DC trigger wires. So that goes to your old hot end output on the board. So see these two on the end here, these two, yeah. So there it is, and it goes in here, and all it does is turn on an LED now. When the LED comes on, it connects through here. So one is your live wire. I tapped into the live coming off the outlet, so I only need one cord for this thing. And then when the LED lights up, it turns on the switch that flows power. It's a solid state relay. It will flow the amperage through here. It's good to bolt this. You know, I use those T-nuts. It's good to bolt this to something that's going to do some heat sinking because it's going to generate some heat usually. So any kind of heat transfer is good, especially into this aluminum. It'll be fine. So we got, you'll be able to see the light when it's flickering, controlling it. So do some troubleshooting there if you need to. You can see I put a ferrite bead on my hot end wires. The other hot end wire goes to the neutral wire. And you'll see I did do a quick disconnect for the power coming in from the outlet. So you got to be really careful. If you're using one of these still on your power supply, this one's going to be live with 120 volt AC. Don't plug that into your 24 volt one. I'm not using that anymore. I use the solid braided wires. Well, not solid, but they're stranded. But there's no connection in the middle of this. So I don't have to worry about plugging that in. And the side that's live is, here, let's unplug this. Side that's live is female, so it's not as prone to sticking your finger in there and getting zapped. So, but anyways, and then they printed this 3D printed cover to go over the solid state relay. So remember, the solid state relay only interrupts the live side. You don't need to interrupt the neutral at all. The neutral just stays connected. I used a butt connector. I was going to put heat shrink over it, but I forgot to do it first, so it's an insulated butt connector, it'll be fine. But anyways, yeah, I'll just plug that back in and it's ready to go. So I'm just about ready to turn this thing on. I had to wire in the Raspberry Pi and stuff it in there, and then I need to put the LCD on the front of it. The LCD is, very unimportant compared to the rest of this, but I will still do that. I would like to tie this down with a butt connector so that it's tied, but actually I want to use a T, but a P-clamp. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of, P-clamp right here. But I might just put a screw in there and wrap a zip tie, just to keep this out of the way of the bed on its way back, because that bed would catch this, and I've had that happen before. So it's not good. Things start making lots of noise and prints fail. So anyways, that's where we're at. Alright guys, it's the moment we're waiting for. Everything's wired up. Let's flip the toggle switch and look for smoke and sparks. Yeah, I heard the blue touch or CR touch wake up. And we've got no fans over here. So, but we haven't loaded the firmware yet, so the Raspberry Pi should be booting. I see some lights in here. I think they're coming from the Pi. Yeah, the Pi is lit up in there. Got this set back on top. So, oh, it booted. There we go. That's Klipper firmware. Let's control. No, yeah. Control. Home all. Let's home X and Y first. Should probably get this off my table. Okay, that wire's not long enough. I'm gonna have to give it more. And X didn't seem to move at all. Egads. Okay, so yeah, I did do some readjusting on my wiring. So instead of having the wire attached here, which was causing all sorts of problems, couldn't get that thing to home, I just zipped it to the side of the power supply here, and it's kind of just hanging down. I'm gonna do some kind of bungee cord thing to the top of this so it can move down, it can stretch down with it, but for the most part it's kind of being held up here. And I joined it with this wire on the left just to give that somewhere to go. Kind of think I should have run that on the other side of this, but it'll do for now. I can unzip tie it and unplug it and do it around better later. Let's see. Okay, you're just gonna have to live with the camera at the screen because I don't want to screen capture right now. Anyways, so got everything up to date. Should probably load the new firmware because the host is running 546 and the MCU is at 289, so it's been a while since I flashed new firmware on there, but they still talk to each other, so I'm not going to mess with it right now. Probably be the best time to do it though. Anyways, printer config file, that's where we're going to make big changes. So the X stepper, we are going to change the maximum position from 235 to 400. And the Y position is also going to go to 400. All right. And stepper Z, position max. This is where we can go to 450. Yep. Okay. The extruder doesn't need to change at all. Heated bed. I'm gonna have to redo the PID tuning, but we'll do that later. The thermistor didn't change. It's still a 100K thermistor. Fans should still all be the same. We'll confirm that later on. Obviously the TTY is still the same and it's still working. Printer, yeah. BL touch offset might change a little bit, but I'll worry about that later. Homing XY in position. Now, we're going to change this to, you know, we were at 160 out of 235, so we're going to change this to 300 and 300. It should put the BL touch somewhere in the center of the bed, but we'll see. We might have to change that some more. Bed mesh. We're probably going to have to increase this. So this is X and Y minimums, maximums. So 280. I don't know why it was. So let's just change this to 380 and yeah, 380. That'll do. Probe count 5. Might do more than that because it's such a big bed now. D by cubic Z position. Pivot point. We go with 230 now. 230, and we were at 220, so we're going to go to 380. 260, 260, 380. Okay. And those are all good. I've got the steppers all correct because I've had it moving around now. Display. Commented out stuff. Okay, and then there's the auto tuning. I'm gonna have to retune the bed, but I'll worry about that in a bit. Save and close. So, but yeah, let's tell it to home over here on the interface. So we want to go to dashboard. Where's my mouse? There we go. Dashboard. Things I've printed recently. Let's say home all. No Emmett. Okay. It is home to the bed. It is home to the head. Now it's going to. Okay, it looks like it's a little off center for that. It didn't home Z at all. Didn't even try. Fun times. All right, so I want to cover a couple of things that I'm doing to calibrate it. Right now, I'm manually. I did the auto home, and then I manually moved it around. I'm at Y1, and I use that to set my end stop position, and you can see. Can you see it? Yeah, I can. All right. You see, I am right on the edge of my plate. So I've got my end stop nearly perfect. I'm just gonna go into the config file and set it to 1.5 millimeter, and we'll be spot on. Z is always covered by the CR touch, so that's not a big deal. And then I'm making it do the homing in the center of the bed, so I gotta set that coordinate just right. That changed after I fixed the end stop. I'm gonna have to do a PID tune, but on the bed obviously. But I might as well wait till I have the actual bed surface on there because it's gonna be invalid right now, and I need to tie up my wires because they're sitting on the bed right now. But I am really happy with the progress I'm making. I could just about print something right now. Cool. Alright, I got the bed mostly level. I don't have the print sheet yet. It arrives in the mail tomorrow. But I am going to try and do a PID tune on the bed anyways. Confirm the silicon heater under there is working and my solid state relay is working. So here goes nothing. Okay, I sent the command. It's at 23 and it's going 24. It's going for 60. You can look at the solid state relay back here. The light does not appear to be on. I'm not sure what. Maybe I got the polarity backwards. Alright, so that's going to fail and we will try again. I will try reversing the polarity on that. Drat. Alright, I had to reverse the wires on the solid state relay. So let's try it again. 24. Nothing. Let's check the solid state relay. Oh, it's lit this time. Good. So we are sending power. 24. Got nothing yet. 25. For 600 watts, it's not heating up very fast. 26. Okay, now we're moving. Oh, and I feel heat on the bed. Oh, I feel it. You know, aluminum feels cold to the touch. It doesn't feel cold to the touch anymore. 28. Now we're moving. 29. It's going to be some seriously different PID settings. 30. We're moving. 31. Yeah. So, because it's lighting an LED, you have to have the polarity right on this. Oh, I better put that back on before my kid gets fried back here. There we go. Nice and safe. A little protective cover until he grabs it, pulls it off, and then fries himself. Yeah, this will be put in a safer place. Not the kitchen table. 38. 39. Oh, she's warm to the touch now. 40. Oh, it's like almost 100 degrees outside. My AC is barely keeping up. And what am I doing? I'm heating a 16 by 16 inch plate to 60 degrees Celsius in the middle of the room. That's going to warm the room up. Yeah, I've got a ceiling fan above it. I've got an AC blown across at it. Get my 600 watts worth out of there. Oh yeah, it's getting hotter and hotter. I just keep touching the edge a little bit. 60 won't really burn you. It'll make you unhappy, but it won't burn you. It's not like soldering temperatures. I bet this bed can get to 100 Celsius now with that 600 watt heater under there. 55. There we go, we're approaching it. 58. Okay, it stopped heating. 60. Let's see how much we overshoot. Okay, so now it's PID tuning. It's trying to drop it to 55 and see how long that takes. With all the fans and AC going, it's getting some extra help. Especially considering it doesn't have the print sheet on here yet. Still overshooting. It's all part of the PID tuning. Let's make sure the light is off. Yes, the light is off, so it should be cooling. 65. I wonder if I can print on aluminum. I really want to try something out. Anyways. Come on, baby, cool down. Okay, it's still trying to calibrate. Let's see what we got up here. Yep. got the 63.8, so it's coming down a little bit. Yeah, the extra decimal point helps a lot. MCU temperature, extruder, and hot plate. It's going to take a little while to get down to 55. I might PID tune it a second time with the closer temperatures. Well, I'm going to re-PID tune it once I get the bed anyways, or the print surface. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I like Klipper. You see how easy that was to just change the configuration files? No recompiling the firmware to, you know, tell it I got a bigger bed and bigger printer now. Just, yeah, quick little change. Each one of those changes I did in the printer configuration file would have been a recompile on Marlin. D8. Come on, cool. Anyways, we'll come back when that's done tuning. I am calibrating the Z-tilt right now. It's done a couple of cycles and then I remembered, hey, I should shoot some video of this. So here it is. It goes back and forth until it adjusts it to within 0.01 millimeters. Which, and I gave it 10 tries to do it, so it seems to be achievable. At first I had the 2X motors reversed, so this was getting worse, and it caught that. It was like, it's doing the opposite of what I'm trying to do. So I went into the configuration file and changed the pins between the two of them rather than, you know, try and, you know, get back inside the controller and unplug and replug. Okay, must be happy now. Let's go see what the screen says. Yes. So you can see we started at retry. Okay, so I told it to start and then probed and then probe at and then probe points 0.437 and tolerance is 0.01, so it was way off. And see, it's upper Z and Z1 is that. Okay, and then it does it again and it got it down to 0.187. See, when I first started, they were so out of whack that one of my steppers was skipping. So the first step went from 437 to 187. That was actually more than it had intended. And then it went from 187 to 0.08, that is, yeah. And then did some more adjusting. And then it 0.035, which is more than the 0.01 I'm looking for. So it did it again. We got 0.125, which is still just a touch more. So it did it one more time, and look at that, we're half my tolerance now. 0.005 millimeters from one side to the other. How awesome is that? Is that like 5 microns? That's a tight tolerance. Yeah. Oops. And it would help if I turned on my tool. Okay. Repeat this. Okay. We got 104.2. And then we go to the same thing over here, which is a lot harder because the screen's kind of in the way. But I can still pull it off. Come on. There we go. Come on. I got a better number than that a second ago. There we go. 104.44. So, yeah, it's pretty darn level. That means the bed is, you know, the springs are adjusted so that the bed is level with the frame. I'm really happy with it. I haven't probed the points all over the bed to build a mesh. I want to wait for the sheet to do that because the sheets, you know, it's plastic. It's, you know, it's a FR4 fiberglass Girolite. So I'll put the bed down first, and then this thing won't be near as low when it's got a bed on top of it. It'll be, you know, 1/8 of an inch higher. You don't you love mixing metric, and I'm not sure what that's going to be in metric, but yeah, it'll be good. All right, before I'm done, this is the Garolite G10 sheet, and I cut this piece off already. See, I made a nice straight cut. I'm just holding a straight edge along it, and I'm scoring it with the razor knife. I measured the bed. I'm glad I did just before I cut this. The bed is actually 410 millimeters by 410, so it's actually an extra 10 millimeters, and I'm giving this an extra 5 millimeters, so it'll be 415. So it just hangs over just enough. So anyways, yeah, the print surface is bigger than advertised. That's pretty cool. All right, we got the bed on here. This is the Garolite. You can kind of see my son's handprint through it, but it's mostly opaque. But this is a 0.08 millimeter thickness, so it's very flexible. It will conform to the aluminum. So the aluminum's not perfectly flat because the aluminum's only 1/4 inch, or not even a 1/4 inch, probably less than that, 3/16. Anyways, we are going to do a mesh of it. I told it to do an 8x8 grid, so it'll be 64 probe points. This is going to take a while. So height map, we're on Klipper. Height map, we're going to go up here to calibrate. Yeah, we'll just call this default. Calibrate. Okay, move out of range, -20. All right. I still have more configuration to do. Here we are building the bed map, the mesh. It will check 64 points, 8x8, and I got it just far enough that it clears my clips that hold the bed down, and hopefully it clears them on the back too. But anyways, I think it will, because I said 380 was the maximum. So anyways, yeah. Should be great. I can't get all the way to the right because the probe is off to the left of the head, so the head runs into the right side. So it's not going to be flawless, but it's going to build a good map. Anyways, that's what it's doing. It's going to take a while. So this is what my bed mesh looks like. Wow. Yeah. It's... Come on. Calibrate. There we go. So yeah, it's this thing's... I mean, the scale is small, but geesh. Oh, anyways, I don't know. So that's what I got. I guess, yeah. Save config. Okay. All right. Turn my heater back on. And I need to come up with something for my first print. Maybe I'll do something simple in the center of the bed just to make a sanity check. But then I'd like to do something all over the bed. First print. I spent a long time getting the Z offset right. And then I found out that the fan was plugged in the wrong head. So the whole time that I'd been heating the head, I'd been heat soaking, so I had to get a jam out of there. And then I went into the config and changed the pins, so it's correct. This fan I think is broken. I need to investigate it, but this print will be fine without it. I also found out that I did the stepper wires backwards, so I changed the direction pin in the config. I really like Klipper. Anyways, I may be a little bit too far off the bed still. You can kind of see I don't have any squish on that first layer, but the Garolite's pretty forgiving, at least for something small like this. This is literally just a cap for some other part. I'm just printing it to test it. I went with my fairly clear PLA filament for this test print. Solutech. That stuff's pretty good. I've been pretty happy with it. It's more clear than I expected, but not as clear as, you know, clear. Anyways, cool. So the greatly expanded Ender 3 is working. All right, it finished the first print. Here it is. Bed's still a little bit hot. More than a little bit, 59 degrees still. So this should, yeah, this is still stuck to the bed pretty good. I'll come back when it cools down and it'll pop right off there. It'll be amazing. So here's my first full print. I grabbed a bunch of little parts for a zip cord helicopter thing and threw them down all over the board. It printed great, and yeah, see, this Garolite is just amazing. Obviously these things were stuck really well to be able to do that, but the little strand between these two, probably should have given a little bit more clearance, but yeah, they come apart fine. Yeah, so it was able to do these tall things just fine. Yes, ripcord flyer. I think I got that off Thingiverse, but yeah, this Garolite is just amazing. None of the parts even require anything to come off once it cools down, and even while it's pretty warm you can usually get them off if you let it cool just a little bit at least. Well, that's a thin one. Cool. Yeah, it had a whole bunch of different flying apparatus, and then this one was a bit close to the board. There we go. That comes off. This one was very close to the board, but it comes off. Cool. Yep, it's working. Cool. Alright, so some final thoughts on my massive Ender 3. I like it. It's exactly what I was hoping for. As you saw with the bed leveling, it's not quite as flat as ideal. It's about a 1mm variance across it. Mark at Ender Extender did say he would swap it out for me, but I'm just going to live with it. I've got the CR Touch. It can compensate, so it'll be fine. I don't want to have to, you know, figure out how to unstick my silicon pad or, you know, order another one of those. So, you know, one thing I could do is I could get a sheet of glass that's thick enough to flatten that top out, and then put the PEI on top of, or not PEI, but Garolite G10 on top of the glass, and that would help. But then I'm starting to increase weight, and I'm already slinging a lot. Speaking of which, I ordered new gears because mine are press-on, and I can take, I've got spare steppers from when I was doing Bowden filament feeder, remote extruder. So I've got bigger steppers. These are, I don't know, one size down from what those were, so I can go the next size up, which are a little bit thicker, and then put these gears on there. It'll give a little bit more strength for pulling the big massive board back and forth at a little higher speed, and couldn't hurt with the X as well, but haven't done it yet. So far it's been working fine. As you can see, I printed these. I need to track down some skateboard bearings, and then I can launch some helicopters, but it all fits together great. Didn't hurt my tolerances at all. Yeah, so I did a lot of work to get the bed as flat as I could to the head. And here, let's go. This is Klipper firmware. We'll go Control Home All. This thing is so quiet. I am gonna have no problem like putting this next to my bed or something. It doesn't make any sounds, even when the fan's running, because I got the really nice quiet fans. Yep, there we go. Even my Z is pretty quiet. Dual Z at that. And I've got the muffler on my power supply fan, so that doesn't make hardly any noise. So yeah, if you already got an Ender 3 and you really want to take on a hardcore DIY project, then you should totally get this. Yep, there it goes. Double check. Cool. And I did fix my fan. You can see I got some new heat shrink around here. And the problem was I didn't have heat shrink in the past, so I'd just done electrical tape, and it's just not suited for, you know, things that move. So now I've got actual heat shrink on there and the fan works again. Yeah, so my Raspberry Pi inside the Octopus box worked really well. The fan that's already, the big 60mm fan that's in there, and also a Noctua, keeps the Raspberry Pi cool as well as the steppers. It'll fit inside there just fine. So really happy with it, and I expect lots of prints out of this thing.